Hey, what's going on? Facebook, planet Earth. We are here at City Hall, and for those of you who were part of the Divest LA movement, or those who weren't, we were talking about public banking here in Los Angeles. So what we're going to do here is we got a press announcement with City Council here to announce a new measure with public banking. Yes,
Can you hold this one first?
I think I can hold this one. I'm gonna do double duty. Okay, hold on.
Sorry about that.
Carlos is please hit me up. So, what am I doing? Okay, I'm gonna flip this. We can do. Is that it? All right.
Is it on? Okay, that's on.
Here we go.
All right. You all ready? Yeah. Thank you to these beautiful people for showing up at 9 a.m. on a Monday morning for a press conference about finance. All right, so thank you everyone for joining us today. To our supporters and allies here, thank you for coming out this morning. This is an important moment in history. This is the first big step for California in breaking free from Wall Street exploitation.
Yes. Yes.
The big banks that crashed the economy in the Great Depression, forcing 10 million families out of their homes, causing nearly 9 million Americans to lose their jobs, got bailed out with our tax dollars without repercussion. Our cities and counties place billions of our public funds in Wall Street banks who then use our money to finance atrocities like private prisons, immigrant detention centers, fossil fuel extraction, weapons manufacturers. So do we want to continue placing our money in these big banks who prey on rather than serve our communities? Or do we want to divest and move our money out of these big banks and move it into our own publicly owned banks? The answer is clear, and it demands a bold and urgent solution. Leading the nation is what we do as Angelenos, and leading the world is what we do as Californians. California is the 5th largest economy in the world, and it's time for us to take our money back.
Yes. Yes.
This is our labor power that's being extracted by the big banks. It's time for us to use public banks to put our dollars to work for the people of California. 4 months ago, we led the Measure B campaign here in Los Angeles, championed by Council President Wesson.
Yes.
So with just 4 months to organize, Public Bank LA, working with progressive allies, built a citywide ballot measure campaign as the first city in the nation to ask voters to approve the first step for a public bank. Our grassroots campaign came very close. We got Measure B received an astounding 44% of the vote, with over 430,000 Angelenos voicing their support to say yes for a public bank. And public banking was a relatively niche idea when we started the campaign, and by the end of it, we had helped propel the conversation on the national radar. And now Los Angeles, working with San Francisco and cities across the state, are going to unite with legislators to pave the path forward for public banks in California, to enable cities and counties to be able to create more self-reliant, local, and just economy.
Yes. Yes.
In Los Angeles County, we have 600,000 people living in banking deserts without a solution to the current housing crisis. And half of Black and Hispanic Angelenos are either unbanked or underbanked and get preyed upon by payday lenders and other predatory financial institutions. There's a real and urgent need for an alternative to the current banking system. The only public bank in the United States is the Bank of North Dakota. And within the last 20 years, they've generated over $1 billion in profit and returned $400 million to the state general fund. That's the equivalent of $3,300 per family. That's $3,300 to be able to improve public services like building schools, fixing our roads. And now California has the opportunity to do that for our localities, and this is why this is such a momentous day. So we thank you to our representatives for your bold leadership. Thank you for standing alongside grassroots activists. Thank you for standing with the California Public Banking Alliance, representing 10 cities and regions in California, from Los Angeles to San Francisco, Oakland, Santa Rosa, Santa Barbara, Santa Cruz, South Bay, East Bay, San Diego, Orange County. That's 10 cities and regions coming together to fight for the power to be able to recapture billions that we put in public banks so that we can invest in sustaining our communities.
Yes. Yes.
The answer for Wall Street exploitation is here. In about an hour, San Francisco is going to hold a joint conference on public banking. This is a united front between Northern and Southern California, a collective stand against the big banks. Today, we usher in a new era of finance where we can boldly say yes to California's independence from Wall Street, yes to using our public dollars for public good, and yes to public banks.
Yes.
Thank
yes.
you.
Woo.
Okay. Next, I am honored to introduce our next speaker, a former community organizer, now in the state legislature. He has fought to end homelessness, income inequality, and the right to build affordable housing. Representing California's 53rd Assembly District, Assembly Member Miguel Santiago.
Wow, what can you say after remarks from the from the most progressive person that we know here in the state of California? But we'll try to follow nonetheless. Let's frame why this is absolutely important. In the 5th largest economy in the country, where we have luxury condominiums and millionaires and billionaires, we still have a skid row. We still have thousands of people who live on the street. If there was ever a time to discuss a public good or how to use finances for the public good, this is it, and this is now. The 53rd Assembly District that I represent is the 2nd poorest district in the state of California. It's where big banks have failed. It's where Wall Street has failed us the worst. So some people say, why do we need a public bank? Let's be very clear. Private corporations are not meant to do the business of public good, which is why we need a public bank that can determine how to use all the money saved on fees for the public good. It can determine that rather than the bottom line and the profit, that it is better placed to use our revenues in a way that we leverage the public good. We can invest in affordable housing. We can invest in student loans. We can invest in figuring out the ways to get people off the streets and in a good paying job.
Yes.
That's what a public bank can do, because it'll be determined by the citizens about what is our public good rather than the bottom line of some millionaire or billionaire percent. Let's be clear about what this bill does. It's pretty simple. It allows local governments to come together and form a public bank. And it will allow local municipalities to partner together with other financial institutions to seek a public good. Let's be clear about what this bill does not do. This bill does not establish a state bank. And this is really important, because we know that decisions are better made at the local level with leaders like our county assessor, with leaders like our council president, and with leaders like grassroots activists, where they can come together and establish a common good and what we want to do with those public dollars.
Yes.
Who do you think can make a better decision for our community? Wall Street bankers or the people back here?
The people.
So it's pretty simple. What we're saying is that people matter more than profits.
Yes.
That's very simple, and that's
Yes.
what a public bank is established to do. So from here on out, we're going to push extremely hard across the state of California to make sure that we get a bill through, and that's AB857. Pretty simple. 857 will help us to establish a public bank in the state of California. And now it's my pleasure to introduce Council President Herb Wesson.
Thank you, thank you. In fact, let me just quickly say that I always enjoy when I'm afforded the opportunity to spend time with my good friend Jeffrey Prang, our assessor, and with my brother from another mother, Miguel Santiago. He is a young progressive leader. Let's give the two of them a round of applause, because in some circles, this stance that we take today is not a very popular stance. I also want to acknowledge Trinity, and to all of the people behind me, let's just do a big round of applause.
Woo!
Today, we reject the idea that only one form of banking should exist. Today, we reject the idea that there is no alternative to conventional banking. Today, we reject the idea of supporting banks that only ensure that a small percentage of people succeed and not the majority of people, not just in this city, this state, but throughout this country. Today, we join together to support Miguel's bill, which basically moves forward this conversation about creating a bank or banks. That mission statement of that bank would be to try to make the community a better place.
Yes.
To build affordable housing, to give small loans to small entrepreneurs. A bank that's main bottom line is going to be to make our community a better place.
Yes, yes.
Last year, a group of people would come to this city hall every week, led by Trinity and Miss Roberts and Carlos, a whole bunch of people talking about this, what many people thought was a crazy idea of creating a public bank. Many of us on this council bought in with them, and we put this on the ballot. And if you ever want to see a real grassroots campaign, look back to what we were able to do. Over 44% of the people in this city voted for that measure, and I think we spent $15,000 total. So with the support of our allies at the county, our allies in the state, and the people standing before me, we think that we have a better chance moving forward now. The last thing that I want to say, because you're going to hear people kind of do thumbs down on the idea, let me ask you this. When the whole banking industry was crashing, people were losing money all over the world, there was one bank, one state bank that didn't feel a tremor. It survived. There's one bank for the past 17 years has finished in the black, and that is a public bank. Don't you want to know what they did, how they did it?
Yes.
Don't we want to just explore this more to find out why they succeeded while others failed? In California, in fact, in this country, the winds blow from the west to the east. So it is time for us again as Californians to stand up and send a message to the rest of this country that we are going to vet this, and in California, we're going to get this done.
Yeah.
Anyway, one more round of applause. A public bank is coming.
Michelle, I'm doing double duty. Carlos's phone in.
Hey, hey, ladies and gentlemen, a young man that I've known for quite a while, very progressive. In fact, let's give Ellen Brown a round of applause. Come on up here. Anyway, now I'd like to bring the county assessor, Jeffrey Prang, my dear friend Jeff. Come on up, say a few words.
Thank you, Mr. President. Assemblymember Santiago called me and said he needed somebody to add a little bit of excitement into this press conference. He said, hey, how about the county property tax assessor? So I will do my best. It's a pleasure to be able to share this microphone with the Assembly member, with Council President, and the other distinguished guests, and all the great folks behind me. I wanted to speak and offer the perspective of a local government practitioner We've heard a lot about a lot of the important social justice issues that are important about why a local bank is important. But as someone who served for 18 years as mayor and city council member in the city of West Hollywood, I personally encountered the obstacles that makes it difficult for local government to respond to community needs, whether it be the burgeoning issues of how do we deal with the California legalized cannabis issue, or the people who are underbanked, or as has been discussed by the council president and assembly member, issues of affordable housing and other government priorities. I think the one thing that all Americans agree on is that local government is the best place to make decisions for the local community. And banking does not serve local communities. Public banks do. There is a track record of success of public banks. It is time that California, which has always been on the cutting edge of progressive policies that serve the community, to join that very short list, and hopefully will become a very long list, to help provide the needs of Californians and hopefully over time for all Americans. So I want to thank the Assembly member for carrying this bill, all the advocates for bringing it to your attention, and making certain we have good legislation in Sacramento this next year. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And Assembly member Santiago is going to give some remarks in Spanish for our Spanish media.
Thank you. We also want to announce that in about 30 minutes, David Chu will be introducing this in San Francisco, who's joint authoring this bill. So big round of applause.
Yeah.
Y para los medios de comunicación en español, esto es muy importante. La decisión de tener un proyecto de ley que nos va a dar la oportunidad de tener un banco público. Y es muy importante porque necesitamos que los dineros en nuestros municipales locales se usen para el beneficio de nuestras comunidades y no invertirlos en un modo de hacer más dinero para los millonarios y billonarios. Es muy simple que este proyecto de ley nos va a dejar hacer dinero que podemos usar para nuestra comunidad. Por ejemplo, en lugar de invertir dinero simplemente para ganancia, podemos invertir dinero para hacer más casas al alcance económico. Podemos invertir dinero para dar préstamos a los estudiantes para ir a la escuela. Podemos invertir dineros para empezar negocios pequeños que se puedan utilizar para dar trabajos aquí en nuestras comunidades. Este proyecto de ley nos va a dar la oportunidad de invertir el dinero aquí en nuestras comunidades locales en lugar de dar más dinero a las bolsas de los millonarios y billonarios de los bancos, de las corporaciones. Muchas gracias. Y volvemos a seguir con esto. We continue with our program and introduce Carlos Marroquín.
Yeah, Carlos. Woo, Carlos.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, our guests and speakers today. Assembly Member Miguel Santiago, who's commend this morning for taking this on, and also President Wesson that for his leadership on this issue that started a few months ago. But again, for some of you that know me, I'm a community organizer who also lost their home to, at no fault of my own, to Wall Street. As I lost my home, I saw the devastation that the banks created upon our communities. I saw firsthand homeowners, seniors, veterans, single moms, working class being thrown out to the streets, countless of them, at no fault of their own. Right in this place, we started a movement with the Occupy movement to fight against the abuses of Wall Street, to be able to flip the conversation and put the blame where it belonged. We saw that happen. We knew where the blame was to be put on, and that was on Wall Street. And today, this is a great news today that we are receiving, and we're sending a strong message, not only to Wall Street, but to every person that lost their home, that there is going to be a change taking place, and that comes through public banking. I am excited because we fought for this. We fought to be able to bring, a better financial institutions that will serve for the greater good of the communities. So today I'm happy as one that lost their home, but now had lost hope, knowing that we can do a lot better. So thank you again for your leadership.
Yeah, Carlos. Woo.
So our final speaker is Gavin Pierce from the Sunrise Movement.
everyone. How are we doing today? Excellent. Awesome. So my name is Gavin Pierce. Use they them pronouns, and I am a climate activist with the Sunrise Movement. I'm here today because we collectively, as a city, as a state, a nation, a planet, are at a crossroads. The climate crisis presents us with an urgent need to act in bold, new, transformative ways, and public banking is one of the best examples of how we can do that, starting on the local level, on the state level. We have an opportunity to implement some significant change, and that change is necessary. We can no longer ignore what the climate crisis is. It's imminent in the scale of it. There's no historical precedent, save the extinction of the dinosaurs. And so we're up against a lot, and it's going to take a solution with magnitude equal to the magnitude of the problem to really make the changes we need. And the thing is that every young person today, speaking for the Sunrise Movement as a youth-led environmental movement, has a story about how climate change has personally impacted their lives on an individual level, right? Whether it's kids living near freeways or urban drilling sites here in LA, dealing with increased risk of respiratory illness, even cancer, or just people who have grown up seeing seasons become more and more irregular each year, seeing temperatures rise, watching the headlines grow more and more grave as scientists continue to warn us each day about what we're dealing with here. We grew up with this, and this is our future, and that's why we're looking towards things like the Green New Deal, which definitely includes a public bank, because we know that the future needs to change. We know that we need to build new models, and that's what we're going to fight for until we win. Right. So when young people look in the eyes of Wall Street, there's nothing but confidence as we tell them we know that they use interest generated off of our tax dollars to fund fossil fuels, private prisons, and war. And given the announcement today of California's plan for public banking, I feel even more confident telling Wall Street that we are going to win and we're going to stop them. So, we're ditching the old way of doing things and replacing business as usual with something new and something better. So Wall Street, watch out, because we're in this to change it. Thank you.
Right. And it's a win.
Thank you, everyone. So that wraps up our press conference. We're going to close with a Q&A that's going to be moderated by Dave Jetty. But just as a closing remark, AB857, if you're watching this, join the fight. This is an unprecedented alliance from 10 cities and regions in California that's going to be united to take on Wall Street. So this is going to be a very exciting few months ahead. So we need your help. Please join the fight. Join Public Bank LA or any other local public banking movements across the state. And we look forward to working with you. And I'm going to pass it over to Dave Jetty. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is David Jetty. I'm a volunteer on the Legislative Committee for the California Public Banking Alliance. I use he, him pronouns, and I can take any questions anyone has about the bill or what led up to this effort. No?
Explain if someone wants to get involved with, I guess, the movement or,
Absolutely. You could go to PublicBanks-LAppressConference or CaliforniaPublicBankingAlliance.org if you're not in Los Angeles. Just reach out.
The other thing that I would say is all across the state of California, you can contact your state representatives and tell them that you support this. If you are an organization, you can contact any of the organizations that have been mentioned to register your support. If you're an individual, you can join any of the organizations and register your support, or you can contact our office and also list yourself as a supporter. We're going to need to build a big coalition for this.
Yes, and of course this is a statewide bill, so if you are in any area where you might have a legislator that's on the fence, please hit them up and let them know that you support it. Anyone else? No? All right. Well, feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions for background on the legislation.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Public banking.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Public banking.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Public banking.
When do we want it?
Now.
Whose streets?
Whose streets?
Whose streets?
Our streets.
Whose streets?
Our streets.
Whose bank?
Our bank.
Whose bank?
Our bank.
Whose bank?
Our bank.
Carlos.
Hey, brother.
Hey, man.
Yes, excited for this because it's long overdue. I think this is a step in the right direction. Very important step because Wall Street has not stopped their abuses. They continue to do that. So one of the ways that we are going to stop that is by, again, giving an opportunity for the people to create their own bank. And when that happens, I think this is where we declare victory, when people have better options.
Right. I forgot to ask, is this going to be, it has to go through committee first before it comes on the ballot? Like what?
Right. Well, it's not going to be in the ballot. Actually, this is going to go. Yeah.
Oh.
I'll be back later.
Okay. That was the great Carlos. Oh, hey.
Do I stop it?
I don't know. That's Victor. That's Victor. Can you swap it? Yeah.
Hello, finally meeting.
These are the badasses over here. All right. I'll come in.
Okay, 3. 1, 2, 3. Smiles. Signs up. Signs up. Signs up. 1, 2, 3. All right, can you look over here now? All right, 1, 2, 3. All right, let's go.
Yep. One more.
This
No, usually cover someone's face. It always does.
It's all
Okay,
fist.
1, 2, 3. All right, 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Yeah.
We got people over there.
Yeah, I know.
Ben, you want to say a word or two?
The most important thing here is that we really need to build the coalition to support public banking in California. So if you as an individual want to help get public banking and make it a reality in California, first of all, connect with your local movement. If you're here in LA, that would be Public Bank LA. You can also go to California Public Banking Alliance, and that is the statewide group working on this. Most importantly, contact your local assembly member and your state senator. It can be as simple as, I want public banking, please support the bill.
Got it. That's what I was asking. So it's not. It's got to go for people who don't know. It's got to go through like a couple committees first.
Yeah. So basically, it's going to be going through multiple committees in the assembly. So there will be a couple different periods of time where we're going to be asking all of our supporters to contact the assembly members on the committee itself to support the bill. As we get through the committees, then eventually we'll get to a vote in the assembly, where all 80 assembly members will be voting on it. Now, we have a Democratic majority in the assembly and in the Senate, but we also have a range of Democrats. Some Democrats are going to be much more progressive, and we are very confident they're going to be supporting this. We have some that are a little bit more, let's say, moderate, and those ones are going to require quite a bit of urging by their constituents. So you would think that public banking should be a sure win in the state of California, but we have our work cut out for us, and we need the support. Assuming it gets through the assembly, it would then go to the Senate for the same votes. And once we get through the Assembly and the Senate, then it goes to Gavin Newsom's desk for a signature. We've spoken with Gavin Newsom. He shows signs of support. So we feel that if we can get through the Assembly and through the Senate, that we're going to get this thing signed, and we're going to have the beginning to public banking in the state of California.
That's awesome, Ben. And just real quick, because I think when we were working on the one, obviously, for the city of Los Angeles, I think some people, what we were up against sometimes, like, their whole spin wasn't against people with the money wanted to spin doctor it. Like, you really like the way the government, runs things now? You think they're going to be safe with your money? How do we combat that again to I think that was our biggest pushback concern, is that people didn't want more government like taking care of the money because they think the government's already kind of fucked up.
Absolutely. The first answer, which is the clearest answer of all, is do you trust Wall Street with your money?
Right.
Do you trust the banks who literally cratered the global economy with your money? And do we want Wall Street siphoning out our taxpayer dollars, going to executive CEO pay, going to stock buybacks, things that benefit the 1%? So the status quo is not acceptable. So we need to be looking at alternatives. What are those alternatives? Public banking is a distinct systemic alternative to the Wall Street greed and extraction that is currently occurring. So the other part is when we're looking to build these public banks, there's not going to be a profit motive built into them. We aren't going to have billionaire CEOs. We're not going to have stock buybacks. We're not going to have all these things that the Wall Street banks are currently doing to create profits for the 1% at the expense of the 99%. We also want to build in things like transparency and accountability and responsibility into the public banking charters themselves, so that they have a responsibility to the people and to the planet to be responsible, to reinvest in our communities, to be regenerative, as opposed to extractive and destructive. So we are going to make these banks fight for the needs of the people and the needs of our communities. And just at the end of the day, again, the status quo, what we have now doesn't work. We have to build alternatives, and public banking is that.
Yeah, well, thank you for so much of your time, your energy, Ben, your knowledge. You are just a plethora of knowledge. I really appreciate all your hard work. And everybody, how do they find this? Public Bank LA, right?
PublicBanks-LA.com, and also the California Public Banking Alliance.org. And then make sure that you contact your assembly members and your senators to support the bill and say yes to public banking.
AB
857.
AB
857.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
Right on. Thank you.
Right. Yeah, right on. Hey, how are you?
See you. I'm really excited today. A lot of statewide momentum, which is fantastic. This is kind of like an unknown concept for a lot of people, just like, a year ago, and here we are. I can't wait to push it further.
Got it. Were you involved in the earlier part, with us?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was involved with the campaign with Revolution LA in part last year. Yeah, so
awesome. Well, welcome back.
Yeah,
we're getting the band back together.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, there we go. These couple fine young men here, like all three of these cats. Yeah, seen it. Yeah. Cool. Anything to add about today's press conference and movement?
Well, as much energy and progress has happened up to this point, I think it's very clear that all that was just the appetizer, and the movement's only beginning.
Right on. All right. Anything to say to our friends who want out there to support this bill?
Yeah, keep rocking and rolling. You're gonna keep the motivation high. This whole thing is going to change the world, so stay on it.
All right, well, thanks for all your hard work, dude.
Thank you.
Yeah, right on. Anything else you guys want to say?
Call your representatives, tell them that you're into this. Go to PublicBanks-LA.com and show your support.
Yeah,
let's make this happen.
Yeah, what is it? Bill
857. 857. AB 857.
Bank LA.
Public Bank Revolution. This is where it starts. We're gonna topple it all down, but it's gotta start somewhere. And we need people power,
and
democracy.
And if we truncate the money supply comes in, we're doing all these bad, heinous things.
Follow the money.
And now we got someplace to go, man.
Cut the head off the snake.
That's right. Even though I'm a vegan and a pacifist, we're still gonna cut that snake's head off.
It's figurative.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, man. Who's
I'm going to talk to you guys because let's sit down with you now and figure out the strategy. You guys are putting up.
Madeline,
Hi, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good.
For people who don't know, this lovely, beautiful, badass goddess warrior is Madeline Merritt. Please follow her to be in the know. She's amazingly powerful and a cool peep. So, thanks for being here today, Madeline.
Yeah, I wouldn't miss it for the world. It's such an exciting day. We really, this is really the next phase for public banking, which for me, really, when people ask how do we pay for it, the answer is public banks. We can't, for too long we've had Wall Street continually extract from our communities by holding our tax dollars, using it as collateral for faulty investments, and they get to keep all the profits. So a public bank can use those tax dollars, earn profits from those tax dollars on community-oriented investments, and then pocket the profits for ourselves and our communities to continue the power of local communities, local banks, public banks to spread abundance for all people rather than just to the top, which is the only thing that profit extraction from Wall Street does, is send that money upward.
Yeah, you've kind of said it, but just a basic thing for people who have no idea what we're even talking about public banking. What is it?
So, public banking is like a Wall Street bank, like an investment bank, except a public bank would be owned by the people. So any profits earned would be used in the community rather than the current situation where all of our tax dollars are held by Wall Street banks and they charge us to hold that money. So in LA alone, we are charged $170 million every year for a bank to hold our money and earn profit off of our money. So imagine a public bank that eliminated those fees and then got to make solid investments and keep the profits for our tax base. So literally, it's the one thing that could double the power of public dollars without increasing taxes at all, is public banking. So it's a hugely powerful idea. Because Wall Street is the status quo, of course you've never heard about it, because they aren't going to announce a better model that would serve our people better. But we're here, it's time, and this movement is going to propel this idea into the national consciousness. So we're really excited.
Well, thanks for being a part of it.
Yeah, thanks, Keith.
Thank you, Madeline. Right on. Cool, thank you.
It's just a bank a lot, but then after that, just being able to organize homework, and having that fight against Wall Street, but so I just learned throughout my life different things. I didn't go to school for that. It's just, I think that the best way of learning is being on the ground and understanding how people experience our social media is another strong thing that I like a lot. Sure. Because that also, has potential.
I read one of those
by lawyers and some just wrapping up here for the press conference that we hey, what's up? So we're wrapping up here. We had a press conference that, for those who don't know, we in the city of Los Angeles, we petitioned the city council to divest their money from Wells Fargo last year. It was, all these big corporate banks, they invest their money in, just dirty fossil fuels, the privatized prison industry, the industrial military complex, these things down there with putting in detention camps. So they're just heinous, because it's all they're doing is trying to make a buck. So basically what public bank would be actually having the city would actually have us, the people, have a say on where our money goes, rather than Wall Street investing again in all these bad things for humanity and the planet. So we got city council to do that. We were kind of up against it a little bit, because then they put it on the ballots back in November, and unfortunately it didn't pass. We did get a lot of support for it, but I just don't think people really knew exactly what it was, because we didn't really have a lot of time to explain it to people. So they were just taking, again, if you follow the money, people will tell you what their particular point of view is, and obviously the big, commercial banks and everybody else really went out hard to say oh, you don't want the government watching your money, and it was just, again, just a bunch of spin doctrine bullshit. Anyway, so now what we're going to do, which this is what we should have done in the first place, but again, just the way, because it's such a new concept, is that we're going to have it come up as a statewide, like, public bank. So then each city gets to determine their people and their community to where the money gets to be put into, invested into. So it's really awesome, man. So I'll introduce a couple of my friends, and then I'm gonna head out. I got to work, but hope you're awesome. Public banking, it's such a no-brainer, and it's such what we need if we're gonna flip our paradigm. Because again, we're all the money. If you follow all the money, man, they're just investing it into really heinous things on this planet. So, all right, peace, love, evolution, yay.
One, the only Irene.
Trying to send pictures of Trinity.
Yeah. How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm awesome, thank you very much.
Excited for the news?
I am, yeah. What is Trinity doing?
We need to share your live stream.
Here? Yeah.
Wait, can we share Keith's live stream on
The network. You have anything to say, Irene?
I'm excited for the next steps.
Yeah? Awesome.
Catching me off guard here.
I know. I just put you on the spot. I'm sorry. But if people don't know Irene, she is so awesome. She's amazing. She's powerful. KPFK, right?
News report, evening news report.
Yeah.
90.7 FM.
Right. Find
Monday
out.
through Friday, 6:30 p.m. to 6:45 p.m.
Be in the know. With
Yes.
these beautiful warriors.
Radio for the 99%.
All right, where's
I know, that was okay.
what we have here? We have Miss Trinity Tran. Hi, Trinity. I'm catching all these people off guard. I said I'm catching people off guard, but I just want people to be in the know. So
This is great. You're documenting the revolution. That's a very important part.
So-
Broadcasting the revolution.
if people aren't in the know, what could you give them to let them know a little bit
Are
more?
you guys ready to fight? This is going to be the most epic battle between not LA versus Wall Street. This is California, the fifth largest economy in the world, versus Wall Street. This is going to be the fight of the century. So we created the California Public Banking Alliance. That's 10 cities and regions in California who's ready to stand up to Wall Street. And we've got legislators now, Assemblymember Miguel Santiago, Assemblymember David Chu from San Francisco. That's LA, San Francisco, two largest city in California, united with grassroots activists throughout all of the major cities in California, ready to take on Wall Street so that we can take our money back to be able to use it for the greater good. And it's a long time in coming, and this is our moment in history to do that. And this is really going to be the domino that falls. And that's why Wall Street is getting ready to fight us. They already have started to lobby the committees that our bill is going to go through. So April 8th, we have a lobby day in Sacramento. LA activists are joining with all of our allies across the state to lobby the committees at the state capitol. So stay posted, because we're going to announce that lobby day, because it's so important that we really bring all the might of the people in California, speaking on behalf of the people in this country, if not this world, to really stand up for a new system of finance that's accountable to the people. So get ready to fight, because this is going to be epic, and it's thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of this.
Awesome. Where to go? Public Bank LA?
Yeah, to PublicBanks-LA.com, or reach out to us on Twitter, on Instagram. We're reformulating the group right now, because after Measure B, there was a few of us that started focusing on the state efforts, and so now we're going to rally the troops back again here in Los Angeles so that we can be part of this greater alliance that's happening. But you can reach out to us on PublicBanks-LA.com or the California Public Banking Alliance.org.
Cool, man. Thanks, T Square. Boo! All right.
And the end of Star.
All right, that was Trinity Tran. I'm gonna head out. I gotta go to work. I'm wearing my Revolution LA shirt today, not my free hugs. But thanks for watching. Thanks for continuing to show up. Again, it's public. Oh, my hand! I gotta get one of those fucking selfie sticks. Oh my god, my fucking hand. Anyway, yeah, public banking. Fucking just rip the cord, truncate the whole system of the money. Again, if you follow the money, you will find the problem. And there's so many problems. And so this is a good way it's probably the best way to fucking take our power back as humanity, as the 99%, which, you know, we've been getting royally reamed. So we're going to unream it. So yeah, so please support this bill. Tell your, let me see what it is. AB857, AB857, AB857. So if you follow, I'll probably be posting different things on there. So we call your assembly people, call your representatives, and really get support. Like again, we have, you know, City of Los Angeles and San Francisco are both doing it today. So these are really big and, you know, powerful cities. So let's get it out there. Let's make a difference on this planet where everybody gets to have basic clean water, food, clothing, shelter, education, and healthcare. Like those should be non-negotiable, inalienable human rights. And having a public banking system moves us closer to that vision of actually coming to fruition. You know, there's no reason why everybody on this planet doesn't have those basic needs met. And so when you again take where people are investing their money, you know, we'll be able to actually take again our power back and put it back into the communities. So cool, man. Peace, love, it's Levolution. It's going down. Thanks for watching, all. All right, bye.